Alright, so you guys have finished up multiplying with fractions with the NF4 and NF6 standards. So we are starting the NF5 standard now. And you're going to learn how to see how the product of the two fractions multiplied together will relate to the fractions being multiplied together. So let's start by looking at a problem together. So let's just take and look at number 8 right down here. So you have 2/3 times 48 and 48 out of 7. And the question says, will the product be more or less than 2/3? I want you to just think for a minute. Will that product be more or less? All right, so if you said more, raise your hand. If you said less, raise your hand. So we're going to get started. So we're going to write it down just as you would when you learned to multiply fractions last week. So you have 2/3 times 48 out of 7. All right, so remember you have to cross cancel before you start. So I'm looking at 2/3. Let's start by looking at 2 and 7. Can I cross cancel anything there? Can I divide both 2 and 7 by something smaller? By something to get a smaller number? No, I can't. 2 is even, 7 is odd. I don't have any factors I can multiply to get those numbers. Let's look at 3 and 48. I understand you're 5th graders, so you probably would not know this off the top of your head unless you think of time. Think about 45. Could you divide 45 by 3? Yes, you could and get 3. Well, 45 plus 3 is 48. So therefore, 3 is a factor of 48. So I can divide both of these by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 48 divided by 3 is 16. The way I know that, 45 divided by 3 is 15. One more set of 3 is 16. Again, if you didn't know it, you could multiply straight across. So we're going to multiply. 2 times 16 is 32. And then 1 times 7 is 7. So now we have this improper fraction that we are going to reduce to a mixed number. I know I'm going to have a denominator of 7. Well, how many times will this 7 go into 32? It will go 4 because 7 times 4 is 28. Well, 28 plus what will give me 32? 4. So therefore, 4 and 4/7 is my final answer. You will need to work all of your problems out in your math journal, just as I just did on the screen. Now, let's go back to the original question. The original question said, is the product more than 2/3? Well, is 4 and 4/7 more than 2/3? It is, but why? I want you to pause the video and discuss with your neighbor why your product is more than 2/3. All right, you have just discussed that with your neighbor. And the reason why is, guess what? When you multiply, what happens to your numbers? There you go. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at, let's see. Let's look at number 4. So I have a mixed number and a fraction, 8.5 times 74/9. And is my product going to be more or less than 74/9? What do you think to start with? If you think it's going to be more, raise your hand. If you think it's going to be less, raise your hand. We're looking at number 4. You'll have this in your Google Classroom. All right, so the first number that we have is 8 1/2. Sorry, y'all. Times, was it, let's look back real quick, 74/9. Okay, well, before I can start here, what do I have to do? I can't start multiplying yet because I've got mixed numbers involved. So therefore, I have to get a fraction. So I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. I know that 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So now I have 17 out of 2 times 74 divided by 9, or 74/9. All right, let's look at cross canceling. 17 and 9, I can't cross cancel, but I know that 2 is an even number and 74 is, so I can definitely take a 2 out. That becomes a 1. And let's see, 74 divided by 2. Miss Wallace is going to cheat. If you did not know, again, you would do it out on scrap paper. 74 divided by 2 is 37. So now I have 17, I'm going to rewrite it because it's getting a little sloppy, out of 1, times 37 out of 9. Well, my denominator is pretty easy to roll with. So I've got 1 times 9 is 9. Okay, 17 times 37, I'm not even going to pretend that I can do that in my head. We're going to flip over here to the calculator. Would you do the calculator or would you do scratch paper? Scratch paper is the correct answer, so we have 629. Okay, would I leave that improper fraction? No. Again, I would see how many times 9 would go into that, and I'm going to make 9 my denominator. I would typically use scratch paper, but for the sake of the time of the video, I am making it shorter. So I'm going to say 69. I divided it and I got 69. So I'm going to see what 69 times 9 is. That's 621. And I need to get to 629, so I will add 8. So therefore my answer is 69 8/9. You are to do the rest of them. You've got this. Remember, show all of your work. Good luck, guys.